Hey, guess what? This is what a podcast looks like when it's live.
And when someone's system breaks and we are now on split screen because somebody's system broke.
Wait, what happened? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. My name is Sina.
And I'm Missy.
That is her name. She had to think about it for a little bit, but that is definitely her name.
I was literally multitasking, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm kind of doing the same thing, but you could never tell.
Well, you're used to multitasking.
I'm really good at it, actually. Welcome on in, everyone. Today on this podcast, we're going to be talking about, like, childhood favorites. So if you could turn down the audio on my podcast, sister, that would be pretty cool.
I don't have it on!
Oh, shoot, that's my audio. Never mind. Let's not talk about it.
I literally am not even like it.
I was confused. I'm like, why do I hear myself talking? I don't like it. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about, like, childhood-related things that we experienced, and we definitely love to hear.
Because we are adults, right?
You want to cut me off again? You want to try it again?
Yeah, let's
Okay. I'll beat you up.
Sure you will. That worked out real well last time.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. I got cut off. Jika asked, why does your username have 00 in it when you were born in 2006? Damn, you're on to me. I'm a 19-year-old born in 2006, guys.
Totally.
It's the year 2020. We're both adults. We want to talk about our childhood. What can I say?
Yep.
First, I'm going to go off on a rant that was not in the script, so this is all unscripted. Overwatch League, why did you move to only YouTube and now I can't get my Overwatch League coins to buy cosmetics in Overwatch? Okay, I'm calm. What's your favorite TV show as a kid?
That was a real smooth transition.
I'm all about smooth transitions.
Yeah, we can totally tell. But anyway, favorite TV shows.
As a kid.
So as a kid,
So not now.
I was very much into Hannah Montana and iCarly. Those are like my top two. And then as I started to get older, I started liking Wizards more. But
Yeah, I watched probably Drake and Josh was
Oh
my
my
top one
gosh.
as a kid. We used to get in trouble. My mom would think that Drake and Josh was like inappropriate, which I don't really see.
I mean,
I think it's only because I think they said shut up in that show.
they said shut up and Megan would like pull pranks,
But I don't know. I don't think it's like inappropriate. Like a kid shouldn't watch it.
Right, and it's designed for kids. It's a PG show. Like,
Yeah,
how inappropriate could it be?
Drake and Josh was
But-
my childhood show and my favorite probably.
And then when I turned 18, my childish tastes came out in full force.
Yeah, she still watches childish things. We watched
And,
Descendants 3 the other day.
Yes, but anyway, I watched Power Rangers on Netflix because they had it on Netflix, and
I love the new Power Ranger movies that came out.
I'm not talking the new one.
I know,
Talking
but I am.
I'm talking like Mystic Force, which was really good. That's my favorite. Mighty Morphin's okay, but it's not my favorite.
Someone called us fucking millennials. I'll have you know I'm actually a Gen Z.
Yeah, she's a Gen Z. I am on the borderline where some people call me Gen Z, other people don't.
My favorite Power Ranger is the Blue Power Ranger. Also, we watched Teen Titans a lot as a kid,
Oh, yes.
and we would do like pretend games where we would imagine we were them.
And we would always fight over that because half the time we both wanted to be Raven, and the other half of the time we all wanted to be, what is it, Tara?
Oh, I wanted to be Raven all the time because I just want to call this out. I think I mentioned it last podcast. Every one kid that liked Raven as a kid turned out to be emo. They went through an emo phase, and that is definitely true for me.
I love Raven, and I never really went like that emo. Like the closest to an emo phase I went through was like I started liking Evanescence.
That's
but, like,
not emo girl. Oh.
And I went through like 1 week when I was like, I'm gonna listen to My Chemical Romance, and then I never really did.
That's just called wanting to be a trender. Wake me up inside.
Yeah.
I also watched like iCarly.
iCarly was amazing.
I
love
used to-
Spencer. Especially Spencer was in Drake and Josh.
He was.
And the girl
Why
who
does he
played
always-
Carly was Megan, so it's like really funny.
David Dobrik, I don't know if you guys know who it is. He's a personality on YouTube. he actually is friends with Josh, who played Josh in Drake and Josh, and he surprised him with Megan. And the actor's name is,
Miranda Cosgrove.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. And, like, one of his friends, he got to give Miranda Cosgrove one of his friend's numbers, and she, like, politely accepted it, which is...
And she actually...
She seemed, like, into him, too, but I don't think she ended up using that number, because...
Nobody know.
Yeah, also there are, like, some movies that we watched as a kid.
Yeah, you were very much into South Pacific to the point I had to hide the movie.
And I only liked one scene in it.
And you were weird, because you were like... It wasn't even like a kid's movie.
It wasn't. It was like a scene where she's like, I'm gonna wash that man out of my hair, and clearly I was a feminist as a young age, and I am now. But I just, as a kid, I thought it was hilarious, because I, like, was thinking too literally, washed that man out of my hair. Chica says, I've seen more episodes of iCarly than I care to admit, and Wizards of Waverly Place. Hey,
You have good taste.
there's no shame in that.
There's literally...
I watched Descendants as a kid, or as an adult, and it's a kid movie.
Descendants 1, 2, and 3.
Yep, I've seen all of them, and I hated... Well, I didn't hate them, but I was pretty bored with the first two. The third one wasn't bad.
It was funny, because I watched it with her, and she was just, like, trolling the movie the entire time.
And the sad thing is, I'm around kids during the day, for the most part, which is kind of a job-related thing, and I knew, like, a lot of the Descendants songs, because they're all obsessed with it.
Yes, you were listening to it the other day.
I was.
And I was like, what is happening?
She's like, how do you know these lyrics when you hate the movie?
You haven't even seen the movie. You were singing from Descendants 3, and I was like, you haven't even seen that.
And I knew it, just because everyone's obsessed with it. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard Queen of Mean.
I am ashamed to admit, but also really glad that I did. I bought Queen of Mean, so I now have it on my phone, and I'll, like, just blast it randomly.
Yeah. Though the best Descendants song is What's My Name, just saying.
Oh my gosh, that mashup you showed me of What's My Name and Queen of Mean was great.
What's my name? Okay, I won't torture you. I don't know if you liked it so much, but I really liked the movie A League of Their Own as a kid.
That was a good movie. It wasn't meant to be for kids.
Yeah, but, like, we watched it a lot as a kid. I'm just saying, not necessarily that these movies are meant for kids,
Yeah.
but...
A lot of our movie history was not filtered, or very filtered, if that makes any sense. Like, we had one parent that was literally like, I feel like watching this, and you can watch it with me or not. And then we had another parent who was like, you can only watch musicals, and that's it.
True story. We're only allowed, like, an hour of TV a day where we got to pick what we wanted to watch.
Unless it was a musical, and then we were allowed to watch the full musical.
Serious talk, Chica asks, is Idina Menzel or Panic's version of Into the Unknown the best one?
Oh,
I haven't heard either.
I've heard both of them, and that's a tough one. I like both versions. It depends on the day for me, I think.
I've heard neither
If
of
I
them.
feel like I'm in a theatrical mood, Idina Menzel's version is great.
I actually like Leah Michelle's version of Let It Go better
That
than...
was a good version, but I still prefer it.
Fun fact, when she was doing that scene, she was, like, looking up, because in the scene, it's on Glee, there's, like, fake snow falling, and she looked up trying to make it magical, and she choked on the snow and puked in the middle of recording that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was a lot of movies I liked. Like, I liked, Halloween Town. That was, like, my thing.
I remember that, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's, like, any other movies I liked. I mean, I can list
Return to
off...
Oz.
I did like that. I also like The Wizard of Oz a lot.
I supposedly like The Wizard of Oz a lot, but I don't know that for sure. I must have liked it enough to dress as Dorothy once.
I think, yeah, I dressed as Dorothy too in, like, kindergarten.
I remember I dressed as Dorothy, and then that Halloween was the Halloween that I freaked out my cousin by screaming that I wanted scary people to come find me because I was bored and I wanted to see scary
She's always liked scary things. It took me a while to get.
And my cousin was a
into
year
them.
older than me and went home crying.
You're mean.
I didn't know. I literally was.
Shout out to you, cousin A. What's up?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a horrible child. But I loved a lot of different movies, I think.
I also like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody a lot.
Oh, yes, I forgot about
I
that.
always would pretend I was, like, in the show, and I was, like, either their older sister or their babysitter. I don't remember.
Probably depending on the day. But
Yeah.
oh my god, remember when we used to play games where we were like Hannah Montana basically.
And we'd argue over who could be Miley Cyrus and who could be Hannah
And it
Montana.
was like which ones too. It was like you can be like
Hannah Montana straight hair, Hannah Montana short hair, Hannah Montana curly hair.
yeah.
Yep. We were psychos. We still
very
are.
much were. And we would fight over it so much because we always wanted to be like the same characters.
Yeah, I know.
We wanted to be the
My-
Miley Stewart with like the wavy hair.
Yeah.
But I was willing to settle for the Hannah Montana of that same like timeline.
Jika says, Sweet Life pissed me off, to be honest, and Sam and Cat too. I didn't like Sam and Cat.
Sam and Cat
But I also
tried
was, like,
really hard.
Kind of older when that came out, so I might have liked it as a kid. I don't know.
I liked Victorious initially, but
I didn't really like Victorious and Sunny with a Chance as a kid.
I liked Victorious initially. Like the first episode was great. There were a couple of other episodes I liked, but once it got weird with like singing random things that didn't quite make sense, I was done with the show.
Would you consider Glee like a kid show?
No, that's definitely a TV,
Okay.
I think. Zoe 101.
So was that too inappropriate for kids, you think?
No, I love
No, I did. We also would pretend Zoe 101 we were at like a boarding school.
I loved Zoe 101. You were obsessed with Dana.
I did. I had like my lesbian side came out as a kid. Like I had a crush on Dana, but I didn't know I had a crush because I didn't understand crushes.
But, I mean, Zoe 101 is great, and I was so sad when that show ended because it was so good still. It wasn't like it was dumb.
Yeah.
Even
I don't know if they're doing a reboot or not.
They keep saying they are, but then they aren't, but then I don't know what's happening. Just like Lizzie McGuire, they were supposed to do a reboot of that, and then they never did. Speaking of, I'm trying to get you to watch Lizzie McGuire because you've never watched it.
I've never seen Lizzie McGuire.
But
I've
I
seen
was,
like scenes
I
of
was
it.
just old enough to see like a lot of reruns that were still running on Disney.
Oh, I also know Starstruck. That movie.
Oh, God.
That kid, I don't know the actor for it, but the main guy that plays the famous person, I feel like he was typecasted.
Chad.
Well, that's his character in Sunny with a Chance.
Isn't that his name though, I think?
I don't think so. But he was so typecasted because he always played like a stuck-up rich person or
Something
stuck-up
Knight,
famous person.
Something Knight. I want to see his last name.
Sterling Knight, that's his name. That's the actor's name. But they had an actor in it called Daniel Campbell, which, fun
I
fact,
didn't realize how much you loved her at first.
yeah. And then I would pretend, like, I liked that movie just for one scene in it where she was saying, like, congratulations, you made your celebrity. Because I thought it was, like, so deep, but, like, looking back on it, it's kind of cringy, just because all kid stuff is cringy for the most part.
But she wound up in one of your favorites.
My favorite show of all time, the original, she wound up in that later on, which is kind of funny to think. That I watched her as a kid without, like, being obsessed with her. And then I was obsessed with her later. She was my favorite character for a while.
Yeah.
And she is so pretty. Like, can I take you
And
out for
she's
dinner?
such a- the way she acts now is super, like, badass. And I'm just like, what are you doing? How are you so good at this?
She... Actually, it's a funny story how she got discovered. She got discovered in a hair salon, like, getting a haircut.
I don't know if I believe some of these stories.
That's what she said.
Really? You have
Yeah.
like, actually saying that?
I mean, I couldn't pull it up right now, but I've heard her talk about it.
Huh.
But, yeah, let me take you out to dinner, Danielle Campbell. You're super pretty.
Or at least can you, like, teach us how you act so good?
I just want to take you out to dinner. I'm gonna treat you right. I know you have a boyfriend. I'm gonna treat you right, though.
Okay. What other kid movies did we watch, like, a lot together?
I watched Princess Protection Program.
Oh,
I know we were
Princess
obsessed with that.
Diaries. What about Princess Diaries?
I didn't really like it, but I know you did.
I loved it. In fact, that was the first thing I watched when Disney Plus came out.
What was the movie? The ice skating movie.
Ice Princess.
We did watch that a
Loved
lot.
that. It's kind of, like, meant for, like, 12-year-olds, I think.
Also Shark Boy versus Lava Girl.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl is what it was called.
Oh yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Shark Boy
Spy
versus Lava Girl.
Kids! Oh my god!
The Shark Boy, I have a fun fact. I've never seen the full movie of Shark Boy and Lava Girl because we had a bedtime at was either 8 or 8:30.
It was like 8.
And the movie always started at 7, and it would finish like an hour and a half, so we never got to see the full movie. And I, to this day, have never seen the full movie.
I've seen the full movie because it was on Netflix.
I also had a crush on...
Shark Boy?
No. Lava Girl.
What?
I had a lot of girl crushes as a kid that I did not realize were crushes.
Fun fact, Shark Boy, Taylor Lautner, aka...
Close your eyes, shut your mouth, dream a dream and get us out. Dream, 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 dream.
Literally, Taylor Lautner was like, even as a, like, he just grew into this really big character. Like, he went from Shark Boy Lava Girl, and then he, like, vanished forever, and then he became, like, a super hot guy in Twilight. Like, he was the hot one.
I think, like, kids had crushes on him in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, too.
I will admit, as a tiny, like, 9-year-old, I was like, he's really cute.
Chica says, sounds like my life. Are you really comparing herself to Taylor Lautner?
That.
I mean, I guess I'm Team Jika. I don't know who your other person is, but I'm Team Jika. And I was Team Jacob.
Who's an emotional friend that, or not even friend, who's an emotional person that you also know?
Me?
No, because Jacob was the hot one who's not really emotional. Edward was the emotional, sappy one that was always self-sacrifice.
Other person is Ark. Is Ark really, like, emotional, though?
And
like, overly emotional?
And would Ark be like, I'm gonna torture myself by breaking up with you so you don't have vampires in your life? Would Ark do that? I don't think so.
Someone please clip this and send this to Ark. It's Ark and Jika versus Edward and Jacob from Twilight. We just wrote them into Twilight. You're welcome. You didn't ask for this, but we provided.
Who's Bella, though?
Can you guys act out that, movie, please? Who's Bella?
But, yeah, who's the stupid chick that's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But at the same time, you're a vampire and I'm gonna try to save you from another vampire.
Who is, I'm trying to think in that community, who could be a dumb girl in there.
A dumb girl that, like,
I'm trying to...
is super, like, as Jika said, needy for attention. Do you remember when we acted that out at camp?
We did. At a camp, we did act out Twilight.
I pretended to be Bella, and you were Edward, and you...
Incest.
No, I wrote it, though. I wrote, like, our little fake thing. It was so funny. Because I gave you, like, sparkly pom-poms, and you were like, hi, dude, I sparkle in the sunlight and stuff.
I always made fun of stuff like that just because I wasn't really into, like, the girliness.
I literally told you. The whole thing is, like, Edward sparkles, and it's stupid but hilarious. You gotta play that up. I'm
trying to figure out who the needy person in Arkilled, twitch.tv/Arkilled, that could play Bella. I literally can't think of one.
Yeah, I don't think there is one.
PK. Is PK needy? I don't know. I wouldn't say he's needy, but that's the first person to come to mind. PK, you're gonna be Bella.
The person that came to mind is only because they're always in the chat, and that'd be Samantha, but Samantha's, like, actually smart and, like, not that needy.
Yeah.
So like,
it would be insulting to compare her to
Bella, right?
Yeah. We love you, Samantha. Hi.
Yes!
So, Jika said Navi Dude, which is someone from Arkshire. I don't remember.
Grumpus?
Grumpus can be Bella. We figured it out. Grumpus is Bella. Okay.
Okay, solved.
No one listening to this podcast is probably gonna understand. I watch a streamer, or I used to more so often than I do now.
I do a little bit still.
Twitch.tv/Arkilled, and we're naming off people in his community to act out Twilight. So we have Jika, who's gonna play Jacob, and we have Arkilled, who's gonna play Edward, and we have Grumpus, who's gonna play Bella, which is a friend of Arkilled. So, perfect. Grumpus is quit Twitch, that doesn't matter. He's still in the community.
Yeah, he still counts.
Yep.
And aren't they, like, friends of
And if they're not friends anymore, I don't care. He's still gonna be Bella.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're friends still or not. But,
Ark hasn't quit. I swear.
Ark has quit Twitch again?
He literally was just live, like, yesterday, I thought.
I don't know.
I didn't watch, but, like, I swear he went live yesterday.
I don't know. I don't know. If he quit Twitch, you guys can still watch his past broadcasts. Oh, he's live with reruns. Gotcha. I miss Ark. Which, I mean, is my own fault because I don't really go by his stream. Oh well. Oh well. I love you, Ark. Don't hate me.
I love Ark. Ark is cool.
Is there any other movies or TV shows we watched as a kid?
I was trying to think of. I mean, I watched Twitches.
Twitches, not Twitch, but Twitches.
Yeah, Twitches. It's Twin.
I was like, you don't watch Twitch as a kid.
No, it's literally Twin Witches is what it stands for. And it was good.
Yeah.
You didn't like it, but I liked it.
I don't think there was, like, anything else that really stands out.
Yeah, a movie if you want to go there. You like that.
Which, it honestly is not really that good of a movie.
No,
but...
The only good part is the ending scene where she's about to perform as Hannah, and then the whole thing happens. That I'm not going to say because it's a spoiler.
We also played a lot of computer games as a kid, or like computer related things, whether it's
That Jika just asked if I was shaving my legs, and no, that is someone doing carpentry in the basement.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? No, we just shave our legs on podcast. No other time. So if we ever stop the podcast, just know that we're Sasquatch.
If we shave our legs on stream, we'll sell it to you. It's fine.
Yep. Along with our Gamer Girl Bathwater Kappa.
Totally.
But we played a lot of computer games as a kid. I know I was obsessed, and you can't put it lightly. I was obsessed with Club Penguin.
Oh my god, you were. I played it too, but you were like, you had a membership and everything.
I paid for that well, I didn't personally. I made my parents pay for that membership. They had like events that would go on in it, and I would decorate my igloo, and I would put it into contests. I never won. I also would get really mad because I never met like Rock Hopper and stuff, which was characters in Club Penguin.
I remember I used to go on to Club Penguin, and I would go into like the diner or whatever
and try to own it
and pretend like I ran it, and
yeah,
sometimes it worked.
Yeah, that was like a huge thing too.
A lot of people.
Basically, Club Penguin, for those that don't know, it's like a kid online like game.
It's kind of like World of Warcraft, kind of, but not.
It's kids, and you play as a penguin, and I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna call it Club Penguin Island. Yeah, it's closed down now.
But there's a rip-off version that's out there.
Yeah, but you play as a penguin, you can play mini games to get like penguin coins, and you can have pets.
And then you can buy things, but only certain things unless you're a member.
Yeah,
If
which...
you're a member, you can have like
everything. But you still have to earn them with coins. It's not like you can just unlock it for free.
Right.
But they have this game called Cardjitsu, which it's just like a card game online for it, and
it was supposed to be like a ninja thing.
Yeah.
You earn like belts as you do better, but it's like
the card game.
But it's like a little bit
it's
like
luck.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's a luck-based game. It's not like you could actually have skill in that game.
Right. I mean, you could try and strategize, but you're guessing.
Yeah.
You're guessing that they're gonna put like a fire piece forward or a water piece forward.
It's basically like kind of like Battleship. It's a guessing game.
Yeah.
But there is like strategy,
it's like
I guess.
a less strategy-based Yu-Gi-Oh.
But I was so obsessed, I made my own Cardjitsu, which I think they actually sold them in the stores. But I like made it, which should be easy enough to make, but I made my own. But I never
actually did.
Just like crappy versions, like on paper.
The closest thing to me making anything cool was like I tried to make a Ouija board once, and
no, shows how different we were as kids.
But it didn't work because I didn't make the pointer right. I just made like it was a piece of paper and a piece of cardboard. So obviously the pointer can't move because it's a piece of paper. Like, but I really wanted.
That's terrifying.
I tried it. It didn't work. I didn't buy it myself.
If our house is haunted because of you as a kid, I swear to God.
There's a Ouija board under your bed. Did I fail to mention
Oh,
that?
shit. I also was so obsessed to the points where this is probably my favorite present I got. I mean, my PlayStation is nice, but like...
I spent so much money on your PlayStation!
But I don't really consider the excitement because I got it when I was older, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess, but like, way to rip my heart out.
Club Penguin, it was probably my favorite present as a kid. I got these little like action figures, even though last podcast we said there's no such thing as action figures, they're Barbies. So I got these Barbie Club Penguin things, which I mean it's what it sounds like. They're
It
like
looks like
penguins.
you
Like
had some that were really small and some that were like slightly
stuffed
bigger.
animals. I had like stuffed animal ones, and then I had
Didn't
the
they come with like codes and stuff?
they came with codes where you could get like clothing and stuff to unlock, and I still have them. I think they're downstairs.
Probably. Everything that we have is downstairs.
I should bring them up
If
sometime
anyone
for
wants to go to our
nostalgia.
basement, you will find everything on God's green earth in the basement.
But and then I had like little things that came with it, like in the game. They had like plays you could act out in the game, which is actually kind of cool. And one of the plays there's like a spaceship, so I had the like actual spaceship. And you had like the characters that are in the game. Seriously, just go on Club Penguin Rewritten. I could probably still play Club Penguin and actually really like it.
Yeah.
It's basically like a fan-made like website of the old Club Penguin.
But it looks basically the same, but they've changed
It
it
is.
so it's easier. You don't have to have like membership.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for a membership. You automatically get a membership.
Yeah.
Which
And
I would buy that every year. I probably played it for 4 years, and every year I had a membership.
it was like a year-long one, right?
Yeah. And I remember also like it was like huge as a kid, so we had like schoolmates that would play it, and I remember one of my schoolmates, he couldn't afford like a membership just because family stuff, so I gave him my login and I let him play mine every Wednesday, and I played his every Wednesday. And that kid, I don't really talk to him anymore, but he was obsessed with Overwatch to the point like everyone knew it. So like we'd all make jokes in class about it, and I kind of wish I got into Overwatch when we made jokes about that, so I could have played with him.
Remember we used to play Club Penguin with like a bunch of our friends, and we would all try to get into the same server.
Yeah.
They had server names, so like you could actually play together purposely.
And me, yeah. But all my friends were dumb as we'd make plans. We'd be like, get on this server at 4 o'clock, and my friend would never show up. I would always get stood up, but I was so obsessed with that game that I was dedicated to finding it and to meeting up with them, but they never did.
Yeah.
Uh,
I liked Dream Life as a kid.
oh, yeah. Explain what that is for those that don't know.
Okay, it looked like, so basically it was like a tiny little remote. So it looked like a TV remote where it had like options, and you would play it on the TV. It had those, it was like, literally that was the only game it was, but it was like a system you plugged in, and it was a single game where you play like a life type thing. So you make a character and you live your life, and you make choices.
I remember
via the
that,
remote.
yeah.
Like,
That was fun, too. We would play it for hours, where now I bet if I turned it on, I would play it for like maybe
5 minutes. It'd
yeah,
get
like
boring.
15
I think
minutes.
it'd get boring.
Yeah,
But
because
it's
you
like a
repeat the
less
same
full
thing.
Sims, basically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't really build anything, but you can make choices.
Yeah.
But then the system broke, and we were so sad because like somehow the cord probably broke a little bit, so like half the TV screen was black, so you
Yeah.
couldn't see half of it. Only when the system was hooked up, so we knew it was the system's fault and not the TV.
I remember I felt really bad because I had a friend down the street that played it too, and she came over and we were playing it one time, and I said, that character's really ugly, pointing to like one of the AIs, and she goes, that's what my character looks like. I was like, oh. And then I like tried to cover it up. I'm like, just her personality is ugly.
That worked out well.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. You're not watching this, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
What other games did we play?
there was like, I don't remember the website. I feel like it was coolgames.net, but I don't know.
I remember like this. I'm not 100% sure this is what it was, but it was like knitroom.com or something.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it had like a bunch of mini games you could pick from.
Yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of. Like one where you could park a semi or something,
I don't remember
or you could
that.
play as like a spaghetti man or something.
I remember playing as like a weird cat thing, but I don't remember much about it. I just remember playing it all the time in elementary school.
We also played Webkins, but I preferred Club Penguin
Oh my
over
god, do you remember
Webkins.
Simtown? We used to play those on the
Simtown.
school computer.
I don't remember it, but
Or Oregon Trail.
I never did. That might have been more
Oh, we
your...
got rid of it. It was all the school computers. So whenever we'd have like a typing exam, and whenever we'd finish the typing exam, we were allowed to play Oregon Trail.
See, we were supposed to play coolmathgames.com.
Well, we played Oregon Trail, and that game was the best.
I also remember they had this like art program on the computer. I don't remember what it was called at school.
Watercolor probably, or paint.
And we would play with that. And because, hey, I say this every stream, I'm disabled. So as a kid, I wasn't allowed to go outside when it was under 33 degrees Fahrenheit. And I live in like a colder state, so like all winter it would be under that. So I would play that. I always got to pick one friend to stay in with me, and we'd sometimes play that. We do other things too. I also played Tamatown as a kid.
Oh, yeah, that.
I was obsessed with Tamagotchis. I don't think that website's around anymore, but that was so fun
It
too.
probably is, actually, because they still sell Tamagotchis, so it's like...
Yeah, I don't know. I should look it up and see if it's still on. I also remember I was at a friend's house and we were trying to get on Tamatown, and the only person that had a computer was her brother, so we had to ask permission to use it, and he did, and he was like asking what website we wanted to go on to, and saying it was Tamatown because that's how it was pronounced, so he spelled it T-O-M-A, town, and then I was like, no, it's actually T-A-M-A, which that's what it was for the website, and he's like, no, because that would be Tama, and you said Tama. So I was like too embarrassed to try and explain it, and I didn't know how, so we never got to go on it because he wasn't spelling it right. I also had a huge crush on him too as a kid.
Oh my god.
My friend's brother. Yep. We're not married. I think he's married to someone else. Didn't work out. He was also probably, I think, like at least 5 years older than me. So
Awkward.
yeah.
But... yeah.
I don't know. We also as a kid, like kid, like under 5. I don't remember what it was called, but we had this like disc game where it's like I never could beat it. I know you could. All I remember is a coconut falling on the head of your character.
Coconut.
I don't know if you played as a monkey or what.
Don't know.
We had a lot of like disc computer games.
Yeah. We also had, oh my god, the V-Smile.
I think we talked about that one podcast.
Probably, but...
Also, Candyland.
Oh, on the computer.
That was fun. I also could never beat that. I could get to a certain point and she had to beat it.
I remember, I used to play Life on the computer, like the game of Life.
Oh, I never played that.
It was basically, I'd go over to my brother's apartment and he had that game on the computer, so I'd play that sometimes.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't really go over there as a kid.
You didn't like it, you were bored. I also
Yeah.
used to play Sonic on like the really old Xbox, like when it was just called Xbox and not like 360 or anything. So I used to play Sonic on there. I used to play Simpsons Road Rage, and then there was like another Simpsons game I used to play.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those were really fun.
We also on the N64, we would play the Toy Story game.
Yes, I still have it.
And then I think there's like a 007 game I would watch you play.
There's GoldenEye, which was on there. And then there was Mario Kart. And then
Yeah.
I bought Donkey Kong and the Mario 64, I think it was called.
I remember as a kid, when I was sick, like, my mom would always have my grandparents, like, come over and, like, entertain me, and they're very, like, they weren't, like, strict, like, they were nice, but, like, you're sick, you're not playing games or watching TV sort of thing, so, but they really liked learning and stuff, so I convinced them that, Super Mario 64 on the DS was a math game, and it had counting in it.
Oh my god.
By saying you have to move 7 spaces and showing them that you had to count 7 spaces to move. So I got to play that because I convinced them it was a math game.
Yeah. I kind of want to break out my 64 again and play it. Because we had so many cool games.
We should. That would be fun.
I also had some weird snowboarding game on there.
Yeah, and I know you had a Tony Hawk one.
We had a WWE. We had a WWE game on there.
I don't remember that.
I remember it just because like it had China on there and Big Show. And those are like the only two characters I can remember, but I know there were way more than that.
No, you didn't, says Chica. No, we didn't. What? It was WWF back then.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was actually called. I know it was like, I'm pretty sure it was WWE though. I don't know, but it was really good. I loved that game. I used to play it all the time. It had like Mr. Test on there and
Yeah. We also used to, relating back to TV shows, we would watch WWE as kids. A lot. I had,
I'm actually Googling.
I had probably one of my biggest crushes of all time. Probably my second biggest crush. And that was Jeff Hardy. I was obsessed with him. Hello, Dad. Do you want to talk about what we watched as a kid?
Did you,
Do I need to mute my mic?
no?
Oh,
What's up?
we interrupt this podcast to bring you my dad asking us a
A
question.
random question that nobody knows why.
Yeah, I work, whether I work today or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I don't care.
Well, then you have to get up again early.
Tomorrow.
Fine.
Tomorrow still?
Fine.
Okay, sweet.
Let's go
Chica
there
says hi.
Huh?
So,
He says hi.
Hi.
he asked, what was your favorite childhood TV show?
Yeah, what did you like watching as a kid?
Me?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I don't remember.
No, you have to think of one
Star
thing.
Trek, I guess.
Star Trek. He said, if you have TV.
Oh, what's not? Yeah.
Um,
I think we might have had WrestleMania 2000.
mm.
It was the game, I think.
But we also, my dad worked out of state when we were kids, so our like reward is we used to be able to buy pay-per-views for WWE, so we'd watch those.
Oh yeah,
A
we
lot.
used to be obsessed. Though
Yeah, we would
I'm
watch
a firm believer
every
that
pay-per-view.
WWF was way better than WWE.
Um,
I was so bummed when I realized how good the old stuff was, but I was too young to have watched it, and there's no way to watch it.
but going back to how I had a huge crush on Jeff Hardy, like it
Oh
was
my god, it was
huge.
You literally bought that movie.
Yeah, there was
It
like
was like a Jeff
they-
Hardy movie.
they like had a time, I don't know if they still do this, where they came out with like superstar movies and their stories. And Jeff Hardy was my jam. I just liked his dye hair. Fun fact, it turned out emo anyway. Like I went through an emo phase, so I feel like that was partly.
I was weird. I kind of like the people I liked on WWE, like crush wise, were like kind of the bad boys of WWE, honestly.
Yeah, that's why any relationship never worked out, as you have a thing for bad boys.
I'll say like I liked Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase, like back when they were all in Legacy.
My name is Dashing Cody Rhodes.
I didn't really like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was not very good,
He's annoying.
but it was cool.
I always have liked guys with long hair. I don't know why that has been my thing. So I also liked Edge. But Jeff Hardy was my jam. I remember 8-year-old me was like writing out his name, like, and drawing and just like sketching out a name. It was stupid. And I was listening to The Climb by Miley Cyrus, and I started crying because I realized I would never meet Jeff Hardy in my life. I was that upset about it.
I was never like that obsessed. Like I thought people were cute, but I knew like
I had like an addictive personality.
the closest thing to like a good wrestler that I actually liked. I liked Triple H. That's cool.
I remember we had a babysitter and she was obsessed with the Big Show.
Oh my god, yeah.
She was
Oh my god,
she was
you remember when we went
hilarious.
to her house
Yeah.
and they acted out certain wrestling scenes. Like she got tombstoned by like her boyfriend or whatever,
At the time, yeah.
and he was very careful, obviously, about it.
Her boyfriend actually I used to think looked like the Big Show.
A little bit, yeah.
They had
Right.
yeah.
They were really cool.
Yeah. She was amazing. I wish I would like appreciated her more as a kid.
Yeah, Jika, I am very shallow that way. I like lots of muscles.
I didn't really like the divas that much. My favorite, I think you remember more than I do. What was my favorite diva?
You like Mickey James.
I think I liked Kelly Kelly also because I had a crush on her.
I liked Beth Phoenix.
You
Not like crush wise, just like.
did I used to like Maria or was that you?
No, I didn't.
It might have been me, but I think I liked her because she was involved with the Hardy Boys.
I just liked Beth because she was cool, and I also liked Melina.
What do they call them now? Giga says they don't call them divas anymore.
Probably female wrestlers.
I guess that is kind of sexist, maybe, but I don't know.
But women wrestlers, sorry. But I was one of few people who actually liked Vicky Guerrero as a character.
I liked the Bella Twins too, just because I thought they were
really
pretty.
liked the Bella Twins.
Just because I thought they were
I thought
pretty.
they were annoying.
That's how I became obsessed with the name Nikki.
Oh my god.
Except I don't think I spelled it the same. I spelled it Nikki.
I think she spelled it.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I liked a lot of different characters.
She did like Vicky Guerrero. I remember there was one time we weren't allowed to like go out in the yard if it was wet because we would rip up the grass just because we were bad kids. There was one time we did it. We had like a competition to see who could go farther, and we got in a lot of trouble, so we weren't allowed to watch WWE that night. So we admitted which one of us did it, and somehow you convinced me to take the blame for it. So we got to watch WWE, and her main point to convince me to do it was saying that Vicky Guerrero was gonna be in a wheelchair. So that's how she convinced me. She convinced me to take the fall so we could see it.
I prefer Daniel Bryan because I think CM Punk is just really annoying.
I didn't like him just because CM Punk was against Jeff Hardy.
He was so mean. And Daniel Bryan, like, I don't mind him. He doesn't seem that
Isn't
bad.
he the guy that always went woo?
He was the guy that was like, yes, yes.
Oh, I hated any of those. R-Truth had the best intro. You can't change my mind.
I miss when he used to come from the very back of the auditorium all the way down, but then they shortened it to literally just walking down the ramp.
Oh, that was pretty lit.
I was sad.
I also used to have a...
And then they made him crazy, which made me even sadder.
I had a crush on not Jeff Hardy. Well, I did. But Edge's the person who did the, like, song of it where it's like, you think you know me. I, like, had a crush on her voice. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
I also... I think Jeff Hardy... You should Google this. I don't know. Did Jeff Hardy sing his own theme song for it?
Yes!
Santina Morella! Yes!
Yes!
I loved him.
Best character ever! She. Best character ever. Okay, what did you want me to look up?
Did Jeff Hardy sing his own theme song in WWE? I think he's on it again. I know they went to, what was it called? I don't know, some other wrestling show just because they didn't do drug testing. And
Yeah,
he's
he went
been
to
known.
TNA for that.
Yeah.
And then he came back, I think.
Yeah, which... also... There are like we used to like the theme songs a lot.
He actually sang it, but it said there's a video on Instagram of him singing it.
Oh.
I don't know.
I know Jeff Hardy was a musician for a while. I don't know if he still is. I remember I felt so bad for him because in the documentary they talked about how his house burnt down. I don't know how that ended up happening, but his dog died that was inside, and I always felt bad, and I always thought he was so depressed all the time because of this. But Chica said he literally went into a main event of TNA completely out of his mind on drugs. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, it is TNA, they don't drug tests.
Also, I think I started watching WWE when Matt and Jeff Hardy were like fighting.
The very first episode of WWE I watched was when Vicky and Edge were getting married.
The first one I watched, I don't think this is gonna mean anything to you because I don't know how else to explain it, but it was the episode where it was like a stretcher match, and I think it was Jeff Hardy versus Matt on Friday Night SmackDown.
Maybe.
I know that's not specific at all, and I'm sure there have been millions of wrestling matches like that, but that was my first episode, and we watched it at my babysitter's house.
I just remember watching it because I was having trouble sleeping, and so I had a small TV in my room, and that was one of the few channels that actually would come in. Because I had to use like a metal antenna. It was like one of those really, really old TVs. But I was watching it, and I was just so intrigued. I was like, oh wow, they're getting married, and then she found out that he slept with the wedding planner, and it was really awkward.
I actually know what my favorite female wrestler was as a kid.
Who? Oh, like yes.
Natalia, Taylor?
Hart.
Natalia Hart, because she had dyed hair.
She was cool. I liked her. I wish they would have given her a bigger part, but it was always her brothers. She was always there, and then it was her brothers, I think.
I feel like she could kick some ass.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that came up later. I stopped watching 2012.
I stopped watching when they had the core.
When Jeff Hardy got kicked off is when I stopped watching.
I stopped watching when they had the core, though I have seen a couple random episodes here and there because, like, my dad will watch it on occasion.
Paige, I know she came after I left, but my friends still watch it, so I was watching, like, just kind of an episode in the background, and I thought Paige was really pretty, but apparently everyone hates her.
Well, yeah, she's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple episodes with her randomly. Yeah. You like Alexa Bliss.
I actually have WWE 2K18, even though I didn't really watch it just because my friends got it. I also remember when Matt and Jeff Hardy made up. My dad was working out of state at the time, and I literally called him, and I'm like, it's time Matt Hardy puts his necklace back on, because they had, like, necklaces that related to each other, and I cringe thinking about it now.
You were so obsessed. I liked it, but you were, like, obsessed.
I would, like, pretend. I would pretend, and I always would be, like, which is weird because I had a crush on Jeff Hardy, but I would always play their younger sister. It wasn't like I would play, like, a girlfriend or boyfriend. I would always play their younger sister.
I was doing myself either, like, the only female member of Legacy or part of DX.
I remember we also used to, like, she ran, I think, Raw, and I ran SmackDown. That's what we would pretend.
I would also pretend that, like, I think it was Undertaker's daughter, maybe? Or was it Kane's daughter? I don't know. It was one of the two. I want to say it might have been Undertaker, though.
I remember I would be Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy's younger sister, and she would be like, I think she dated Jeff Hardy.
I've never dated. No. That was never my thing.
I like Triple H too.
I think I might have.
Wasn't that actually our babysitter's favorite wrestler, not even Big Show? I think it was Triple H.
I think she liked Triple H. I don't know.
I also used to think it was disgusting how he would dump the water bottle over himself.
Because you hate water! You've got, like, this thing.
I've always been a germaphobe, and I always thought that was gross because he would drink out of the water and then dump it on himself, and then he'd throw it in the audience, and I was so mad because I'm like, I never would want that to be thrown at me. Where everyone else was probably like, oh my god!
I want to catch it, give it to me!
I also had a crush on Shawn Michaels, and I liked Shawn Michaels a lot, which is weird because he was, like, 50 years old and I was, like, 8. But I also, you can't change my mind, Shawn Michaels should have been the first person to beat Undertaker.
Yes, that would have been perfect. I wanted that so long.
He should have been the first person to beat him.
Shawn Michaels is great. I love Shawn Michaels, but he was not really around much when I was.
Yeah, I remember he got, like, written off right away.
Well, he'd get brought in randomly for, like, stretches of time.
And it would
only because of Triple H.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was usually always relating to Triple H. I just like that he was, like, such a kid type character.
Yeah, I remember watching the storyline where Stephanie, Triple H, and Randy Orton had, like, beef, and he, like, RKO'd Stephanie. And Triple H was like, up to the.
I'm surprised if that would even go on now, just because, like.
They won't do any cross-gender fighting anymore. Way back in the day, they did Stephanie versus her father wrestling.
That's hilarious.
Because
I don't see.
On her mother, supposedly, and she was like, you can't do that. Oh no.
I don't know if I would necessarily be mad about that in today if they did that, because I feel like but I get why they don't touch the, like, crossing, just because, like, abuse.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not real. Like, none of the things actually.
WWE is real. Every fuckboy.
Oh god. Oh my god, you like Kofi Kingston?
I did. I don't know if I should admit this. This is probably kind of racist, and I'm ashamed now, but I had a crush on, like, pretty much every black guy in anything.
That's not really racist. That's just
as a kid.
Friends.
I had a crush on every black guy.
That's not racist. There's literally
any.
I don't think you would have any. I think only attractive.
I don't know. I just always, like, in my head, like, no black guy was ugly on anything.
It's not racist though. That's just
I don't know if it.
it's a preference. Like some girls like guys with blue eyes.
I don't know. I kind of consider it racist, like if you like only white boys, though.
That's racist.
But isn't it the same thing?
Not really.
Only liking black guys versus only liking
No,
white boys.
racism is like a system of oppression. That's how racism.
She's a social worker. Whatever. I also feel like if you say this might be racist, you're racist. So. Yep. You can quote me.
Yeah, like if you look up the actual definition of racism, it's a system in place of oppression.
So.
It's prejudice, maybe. That would be about it.
But Kofi Kingston, I also like, because he like jumped a lot. He was like a high flyer, right? I think.
A little bit, not much.
That's also why I like Jeff Hardy, because he did like
Jeff Hardy
cool
did
tricks.
all that. That was cool.
I want to say at that time he's like one of the only people that would do like super high flying. Like for example, where he climbed that like
Well, Nina would do some.
I don't know who that is.
She's a diva.
I remember on
She used to scream and then she would do like her.
now I'm gonna after the podcast I'm just gonna watch like old WWE stuff.
I've looked up old videos and that's how I know that old WWE was good because like when it was WWF because like Undertaker had a lot of cool roles in that. He would fight with Vince and there was like actual plot to it, not just we have a group of 5 people that are gonna kill people. Like I hated when they created the Nexus and the Core and
I didn't like NXT. I remember when that came out. I don't know if it's still on, but I didn't really like that.
but it was good. I liked a lot of the older stuff.
I also thought Stone Cold Steve Austin was gross because he dumped the beer on himself.
I thought it was cool. I just never saw it much.
Oh, I know also why I thought Triple H was disgusting. He would spit.
Yeah, he would spit.
I thought that was disgusting.
You're
Any-
such a germaphobe.
I also, there's one time I had a headache, and as a kid, I would try to make myself throw up because it would make my headache stop because I was so focused on throwing up. That's probably not a good thing to admit to, but I did. And there was one scene, I forget his name, but he had like a afro. Carlos? Was it Carlos?
I don't know.
Oh no, there were two, and they were Spanish. I don't know if they were Mexican or from Spain. Sorry. But there's one time where he ate an apple and spit it in the other guy's face, and that's how I made myself throw up. I rewinded it, so I was so grossed out I threw up.
But I mean, I liked a lot of older WWE. It makes me want to get their streaming platform because they have like you can get WWE streaming and watch all the old stuff.
Chica says, I don't know if you're aware of this, Dina, but wrestling takes place between largely brave individuals touching each other.
There.
Bare individuals touching each other. That is true. I also didn't really like when they sweated on each other. I thought that was gross just because it was
blood. There was blood sometimes,
I didn't mind the blood. I don't know why I thought that was different.
but it's worse because you can
Yeah.
like, get HIV from blood.
Yeah, you can get like diseases from blood. But I didn't like spit and like sweat. I didn't mind the blood. I don't know. I also thought it was the meanest thing ever when CM Punk put Jeff Hardy's neck in a chair and smashed him against the pole. I thought that was the meanest thing ever.
It wasn't even real though.
Well, yeah, but as a kid, I'm just like, oh, fuck you. Except I
That could
didn't
have
use
killed him.
I didn't use words like that
Well,
as a
they were
kid.
like, that was mean, you jerk face.
I used to I don't know, as a kid I was also like fascinated with the idea of like, I don't know, this is probably really bad, especially now like how much of a feminist I am. I was like obsessed with damsel in distress. So before I went to sleep, I would like imagine like I got beat up on WWE and the male wrestlers had to come save me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much ingrained into the way kids were brought up. Like, if you think about all the movies you watch as a kid, it's
Damsel in
princess getting
distress.
rescued, and like a lot of movies are.
Now
about
it's like
that.
the opposite now.
Yeah, now it's like the dude's tied up like Descendants, and then the
Yeah.
princess is coming in all up and to save ya.
What do you mean, Jika? He says, imagine starting with childhood TV programs. Also, those watching live, you might wonder why I read this out loud. I read it so people just listening to the YouTube video can just listen rather than looking at the screen. Chica, imagine starting with childhood TV programs
Oh, we
and
kinda
finishing
really did.
with Stina's WWE wrestler fantasies.
We weren't supposed to even talk about WWE. We were
Yeah.
supposed to be talking about gaming right now.
Yeah, well, I've accepted that this is just gonna be a WWE podcast, and we'll save the topics for next time.
Probably.
I'm just having so much fun talking about it.
I loved WWE, honestly.
As a kid, yeah, I did a lot. Like, when my dad worked out of state, we were, like, allowed to stay up, like, as late as we wanted in the summer. And we would, like, act out WWE.
It was fun.
And when I say act out, I mean, like, pretend. Like, we would put
kids
ourselves...
playing imaginary games.
Yeah, like, we would put ourselves into the
We already
WWE
explained
universe.
it. We explained it. You were gonna be Jeff Hardy's, like, sister or something.
I know, but I was just saying, like...
It's just weird, because
we would do it all the time.
Why do you want to be a
Yeah, I don't know why I did that, but whenever I had a crush on someone, I always would play their sister. Like, I wasn't interested in... maybe it's just...
because you didn't get it.
I didn't understand sexual stuff, probably.
Probably.
So I'm just like, I couldn't imagine, like, wanting to make out with them. Because I'm just like, ew,
Well, you're a
cooties.
child. You still
Because
can't
I had a
imagine
crush on...
You still can't imagine making out with people, though.
I know, I'm like, gross, germs.
I
That's
know.
true. I, like...
I won't even. I literally will grab your arm and be like, "You go away." I'm like.
I don't
okay.
like... Stina, ship relationship. I don't like holding hands just 'cause sweaty. You get sweaty holding hands.
People, yeah.
I don't like kissing people 'cause that's like germs.
Yeah, I think we're the complete opposite on that. I'm very into like romantic touchy-feely relationships.
And I'm like, like I don't mind it, like it's nice, but I'm just like, for a long time I'm like, gross. You know, I'm just like sweating, ew. Like a straw, I don't like sharing straws, and as a kid, this is like off topic, but when I would use a straw, I wouldn't like putting my lips on like if someone else used it because I'd feel the wet stuff, so I would overuse the straw, so my whole mouth would go over the spit so I didn't feel it. Because your mouth is wet, you're not going to feel the spit, if
You're
that makes
weird.
sense.
Like, okay, so we go to the movie theaters a lot, and we usually share drinks because like they give you huge drinks
And it's expensive.
So, it's usually me, her, and my dad, and we get like 2 drinks. She is totally fine sharing a pop with him.
I will only
She
share...
will not share it with me.
The only person I will share a drink with is my brother and my dad, which is weird because my dad never goes to the dentist.
Or brushes his teeth or anything.
So-
Like,
I know he brushes his teeth, but he like doesn't go to the dentist regularly, so you'd think that would be even more disgusting to me. I don't like getting kissed goodnight. The only person I probably could make an exception for would be like my dad. I don't know. I'm very germaphobe. But like my room's like a mess too, so I don't know if that makes
she's
sense.
She's a germaphobe, but she has 2 pet rats.
Yeah, like I
She
don't.
lets
That
them
doesn't
all over her bed.
like it doesn't gross me out like if the rat poops or pees on me. I don't know why. And like kid pee doesn't really gross me out either. Maybe just because I'm around kids all day. Oh, but if snot, I don't like snot. I don't like spit. But like bodily functions don't really bother me. Maybe if I got pooped on it would bother me, but like pee doesn't really bother me. If that makes sense. I don't know why. I'm really weird. And blood doesn't like gross me out. Maybe like period blood would gross me out, but not just like if you're bleeding.
Right.
The girl who ate her own tampon.
Oh, why did you even bring that up?
I know, I just came up, that's what I thought of when I was thinking blood. I also remember her tweeting Ariana Grande, like, why is she even famous? And then, Ariana Grande's like, at least I'm not famous for eating my own damn tampon. Like, if that's what you're known for, why would you tweet a celebrity asking why they're famous? Chika says, a few months ago at work, it threw up on me. How would you cope with that? I would think it was gross, but I wouldn't, like, show it.
I would definitely show the gross look on my face.
I wouldn't with a kid. I would just be like, oh no, and then I would try to turn him away. But I wouldn't, like, lecture him about throwing up on me. I'd, like, feel bad that the kid threw
We
up.
literally had a teacher in like 3rd grade who told stories about kids throwing up and told us that if any of us threw up on him, we would get in trouble.
Which I would probably do the same thing as a kid.
Literally-
Like, I wouldn't jump at a kid and ask him to throw up on me, but I don't know if I would, like, get mad.
He wasn't actually serious, like he'd yell at you, but he was just trying to be funny. And be
Yeah.
like, if you guys throw up at me, you're getting in trouble. But it always happens at least once a year where I wind up getting thrown up on. I was like, ew.
Well, kids don't really know how to express when they don't feel good, I feel like, a lot of
Well, a
time.
lot of times
Like, the parents
like,
have to be like, oh, they don't
There
feel
are times
good.
I felt nauseous in class, and I've said it, but I don't have enough time to get from one place to another.
I remember I was nauseous one day at school, but I didn't really know how to express it, so, like, I didn't ask to go to the nurse or anything like that, but I did throw up outside.
I made it halfway to the nurse's office before I wound up puking in the hallway.
Which is weird. You'd think, like, a teacher would just, like, give you a trash can.
They didn't, though. They literally were like, just hurry up. So I tried to run faster when I...
Where it's like, why wouldn't you just give them the trash can? That's what I would do.
It was because we were halfway there, I think. We were already in the hallway.
I would have just went into a different room and grabbed a trash can. Because, like, I mean, I feel like in elementary school, kids get sick a lot, so that would happen.
Yeah, so it was bad. I was like, oh, oops. I
Um,
remember one time going to the nurse and being like, feeling like crap, and I called to go home, and my mom was like mad, and she was like yelling at me about it, and she was like, you're faking, and that's not real.
Yeah, that's-
There's no way.
We would get that a lot as a kid. Like, if
and
we...
she said that if I got home, I would go in my room with the lights off, and that would be all like
That we never wanted to be sick because we weren't allowed to do anything fun.
And then she got there, and as she got there, I went to sit up, and then what I had been saying the whole time actually happened, and I puked everywhere. And she was like, she couldn't really say I was faking it anymore.
I also used to get migraines a lot as a kid, so I would throw up a lot. Like, I would get them a lot, like, every other day. So I would have to stay after school for this thing called, like, homework help, which is what it sounds like. They'd help you with
Really?
your homework.
You have to do that stupid stuff?
Yeah, I was required
I
to do
remember I had
it.
to go in early and do chess club.
But I always would be trying to get out of it by saying I didn't feel good just because I hated it. And there's one time I actually, like, had a migraine, so I felt like throwing up, so I was trying to get out of it. Just because I actually didn't feel good, not just because I wanted to get out of it. And, I was trying to, like, fake throw up, so I would drink water, and then I would just spit it out, which, that's not puke.
Giga.
But then I eventually did end up throwing up, like, right before.
Chess club was great. I just didn't like that it was in the morning because I'm not a morning person. I'm very much a let me sleep in as long as possible type person. But I was one of few kids who actually was allowed to play. So they had a couple of adults that would play chess too. But a lot of kids didn't have the skill to, like, go up against an adult playing chess. But I was one of few that was allowed to, and it would take like an hour before I would lose.
I have a fun story. In 6th grade at my elementary school, I don't know if they did this when you were there, but in math class they would have a chess unit where
Yes!
they would teach you how to play chess.
Yeah, it was 6th grade, and the teacher actually would go around and play everybody, and I lost really quick, and I was so sad. But he
So
was the
yeah,
math teacher.
like I said, you would go around and play with kids. Like, just, you'd have to ask. It's not like he would just,
Well, he promised everyone he'd play with you once, but
but you had to ask. It wasn't like he would find you. And we had this, like, overnight class trip, and I was playing with him, and I went to, like, point saying you couldn't do that, and then I brought my hand back and knocked over all the pieces, and I was so embarrassed for the longest time. Just like, I played chess with him and I knocked all the pieces on the floor.
yeah, I lost in like 10 minutes with him. It was weird. I was like, what?
Well, yeah, if you,
I'm a good chess player.
and it's
I
not-
strategize.
it wasn't required to teach, like, chess in school, it's just something he enjoyed, so he did.
And
So-
it's technically a math thing. Like, they said if you're good at math, you're good at chess, usually.
Yeah. So that explains why he was good at it, because, I mean, you wouldn't really want to volunteer to teach something you're not good at
Right?
or passionate about.
I loved chess. I just wish everyone else in my family liked it, because I try to get people to play chess with me, and they won't. They're like, this is boring, this is dumb, I hate this game.
I went through a phase where I liked it for, like, a month,
I tried to get
maybe.
you to play with me. You wouldn't play with me.
Oh, I only played with Dad, just because, like, I'm a daddy's girl,
He
so.
wouldn't play with me. And you're claiming you want the family chess set.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that. There was,
But
I mean,
I'd
I'd say you deserve it now, but as a kid I wanted it. Our grandpa, he made, like, a handmade chess set. It's actually really nice, and when he passed away, it went to my dad. So my sister was like saying, when my dad passes away, she wants it. And we used to argue over who would get it as a kid. But
And then my dad made a chessboard to go with it, so it's really perfect.
it's literally like a family-made chess set.
And the board looks really nice because my dad's a carpenter and he like made it and like put the finish on it.
Ironically,
It's
that's what you guys were hearing, was him being a carpenter in the
Yeah,
basement.
he was making a case because I got a couple things signed by my favorite author, and he's making a case for it for me.
hmm Like most of my furniture in my room is made by my dad. We have part of my rat's cage, which is made by my dad.
My bookcase was made by my dad.
I have my bed, which is made by my dad, and then I have like a shelf thing on the end of my bed, and then I have my TV stand, which is also a book stand, which is made by my dad.
And our walls are painted by our dad.
I don't think there's anything else in my room that was like made by my dad.
Yeah,
But he's made like all our tables in our house, except like card tables and
There's
whatnot.
only like one table I think he didn't make.
Which one is that?
I think the one that was in the garage.
Oh, yeah.
And the little kid one I don't think he made. I think he bought that, like that.
Mm.
But he made a bigger version of the kid table.
Which is like an exact copy of it.
Yep. He's really good at carpentry.
Yeah. Which ironically, like even making stuff, like you don't really save money making it yourself,
You
but
save money because they charge you a lot. But he's really good at making stuff.
And we have like a couple like picture frames like made by him.
Yep. My cheerleading photos framed in a picture frame we made.
I remember at camp there was one, they had like a woodworking like activity you could do, and I signed up for it, and I made a toolbox for my dad, and I was so offended when he didn't use it, even though
It wasn't at camp, it was at Home Depot.
no, there was one we made at camp too.
Oh, well, I remember making two at Home Depot. We each made one.
And
We gave them to him, and he didn't use them because obviously it's a tiny, tiny
And it's not
toolbox.
gonna actually work for
It's
anything.
meant for children. Like, literally, it's a kid's version toolbox if you want your kid to pretend to be a carpenter.
So I remember being so offended he didn't use it, and then there's one time he made a point to come in with it. I think it was like after my mom like told him or something, and then like I don't know how it came up, but later he's like, yeah, I didn't use it at work, I just put like a couple tools in it when I came home and walked in with it.
Oh, yeah. I remember at camp, they did have a lot of woodworking, though, and I made a couple different things. Like, I made a Monsters University, like, little box thing.
Oh, that's cute.
And I put it all together, and I felt really cool. Because I was like, oh, I did it all by myself. And I did it better than most of everybody else because I had experience from my dad, who used to, we would do a lot of carpentry projects together.
She had a lot of like, even though like I said like I'm a daddy's girl, she had a lot of like personal cool things that she would do with my dad that I'm kind of jealous of.
Yeah, like,
But like as
oh my
a,
god, we went camping once, and we stayed in like our car instead of like making a tent. But we only did it for one day because my dad hated sleeping on the floor of the car. So then we drove to like a hotel and stayed there for the rest of the weekend. And it was kind of funny.
and then like the carpenter projects, like she said. But like my dad worked out of state, like at the time when he did, like at my sister's age, she was like 8 when they did it. But like when I was 8, he worked out of state, so it's not like I could really.
You got to convince him though to camp in the front yard.
I did.
But the only thing is it wasn't just you and him, it was the three of us.
Yeah.
So I think that was the issue, is you were younger, so like...
And she was older, so it was always like my dad, like I would be with my mom because I was younger, and it was easier for her to like care for a younger person. And my dad was always with my sister because it was easier for him to care for an older person. So we would go to an amusement park and we would split up. I would go on the kid rides with my mom, and she would always get my dad, and I always hated it.
Until I stopped wanting to go on rides, and then
Yeah.
I liked going with my mom because she would buy a lot of stuff because I like shopping, and she would just like get her credit card over every time. I was like, yes, I can get hundreds of dollars worth of stuff if I go with mom, whereas with daddy's like, do you really need that?
Which is kind of funny to think about. That would probably also explain why my dad hated going to the amusement park so much. Because he'd be like, it's so expensive, and I never understood. I'm like, it's only like $20 for us to go.
I
But
don't think it
it-
was that. I think he didn't like the rides because he used to. It would upset his stomach. He would say.
It's like, I want to do that again. I miss that, but I feel like I'm too old because it's like a kid-centered
Just
amusement
missed,
park.
Buy one get one wristbands.
Fun thing though, one lucky thing about being disabled is, well, it's gonna come out wrong, but I can't go on the rides by myself, so I need my dad to go with me to like support me so my head doesn't like snap off. So the lucky thing about that is he wouldn't have to pay for like a ticket.
Yeah, so she would get a wristband, and it's like an attendant pass. They'd go through a checklist of like, this person is approved to go on these rides
Yeah.
with this person.
Whereas like if you went as a family and you're not disabled, you'd have to buy
Yeah.
wristbands. Might be cheating the system, I don't know, but
Well, the wristbands are really expensive for no reason anyway, and the ride's gonna run anyway regardless, so it's not like it
mhm.
hurts anything.
Right, which is always my dream to work at that amusement park as a kid. It's called Nickelodeon Universe. It's at the Mall of America. We're in Minnesota. I always wanted to work there as a kid. It used to be called Camp Snoopy.
Yeah,
Um,
completely.
I like how we just stopped talking about WWE.
I know, I keep shifting conversations completely.
But one thing that would have made playing on the N64 a lot easier. Who's behind me? Someone's
Yeah.
behind me.
Dad's pouting and making weird faces, and now he's left. I don't know what he came in here for.
But one thing that would have made playing on the N64 a lot easier is if we had fade grips.
I know, completely. I used to drop that controller all the time, and I was so mad because I was worried it was going to break and I wouldn't be able to find one online, because at the time, N64s were way outdated, because I had been gifted it from my brother, who had it from when he was a kid. And funny story about that, so when he gave me the system, he gave it to me inside, it looked like a box filled with, like, cooking supplies, but he'd, like, put the N64 in it, and being the child I was, I threw a fit, because Christina got these cool maraca things, and it was in the proper box, and I threw a fit about it before I even opened the box, and then I opened it, and I felt so bad, because I got the best gift, but I preemptively freaked out on him because it looked like cooking stuff.
I think I remember I thought it was like an easy bake oven, which I always wanted as a kid. But I never did get. But yeah, if you want to not drop your like Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, you can go to fadegrips.store and use my clan's discount code AllKings8 for 8% off. So you don't have to drop your controllers, cause
That would suck, and they're expensive.
so I really wish that we had those for the N64 as kids.
Yep, because controllers now are like $60. Fade grips, nice investment. And they look cool too.
And they're pretty cheap, and not cheaply made, just money cheap.
Yeah, and they're very cool for my fashionista self because they come in lots of colors.
Girly and not
Mascot.
girly. So whatever your preference is. I got one for you.
Yep. I'm about to make Christina go buy me some. Go buy me some. Even though my system broke, go buy me some.
Yeah, her system's like garbage.
Well, yeah, it's because it's the older PS4 and it beeps randomly even when it's off
Mhm.
because the weird sensor button thing must have broke.
Yeah. Too bad they don't have a fade grip thing to fix that.
I know. Too bad Fade Grips can't help me out there.
But yeah, that was our podcast. We had a whole bunch of other things we were going to talk about, but
But maybe we'll do a
WWE.
part 2 and talk about them.
And we should talk about WWE in other podcasts too, because we could
literally
cover
do
that.
next week. We could literally talk more about WWE next week and finish off with those topics.
Mhm. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week at what time?
The time where I punch you in the face, 2 p.m. Central.
And what day of the week do we do it?
It's every Saturday. Where I punch
So,
you in the face.
if you guys aren't busy, Saturdays at 2 p.m. Central Time.
You can hear us talk about more funny things. in
We
our
like
lives,
hanging out with people.
Where we
So,
will expose all.
mhm. So, you guys should hang out 2 p.m. Central Time.
It's so much fun though.
Yeah.
I love doing this.
Mhm. I just want to do an awkward silence till everyone feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, because that's what you are, is awkward. Honestly, I'm gonna get awkward tattooed on your forehead. I'm gonna get you so drunk that you'll agree to anything, and then I'm gonna take you to a tattoo place and get awkward tattooed on your forehead. That'll be fun. And I'm gonna keep talking because I hate awkward silence.
She's like a talker, and I'm more silent off stream and
Not really.
podcast.
You just ignore me, and
So I just let her talk.
Everybody ignores me, so I just talk randomly and make myself feel better, even though nobody listens to me. It's very sad.
But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week, Saturday at 2 p.m.
Central
Not
time.
not a.m. 2 p.m. Central Time. Next Saturday.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.